We have a wonderful podcast, a journey into the minds of strange people doing strange things. Bit of a different one today. Shut up! Shut up and get in. We're talking about love. We've been bitten by the love bug. Let me just turn off the other camera that I've got. So, excuse me. Excuse me, guys. We're talking about love. You know, it's Valentine's Day. Love is in the air. Every time I turn around or something. We've been struck by Cupid's bow, and we're thinking to ourselves, on this day of love, joy, togetherness, merriment, we're thinking to ourselves, what the fuck? What's happening with dudes? What's happening with dudes in 2024? Where are we at? Where are dudes at in 2024? Because for the video viewer, yeah, welcome to this Zoom call of an episode. There's going to be some Rosalind and Jocelyn because you're on my laptop. I'm also using my laptop. Soz. So there's not a lot that can prepare you for finding out certain things. Or look, let's just jump in. Let's just do it. Let's rip this fucking Band-Aid off, okay? When dudes smell women's tears, they become less aggressive. There's no easy way to like get that out of the way. Okay? I don't know how you discover this. I don't know how you come across this key detail, this finding, this discovery, but studies have been done, and we're here to talk about those studies. For the first time, researchers have used behavioral measures, brain imaging, and molecular biology to test how odourless chemicals from human tears affect people. Jesus. Like, dude pheromones. Again, sorry. I'm so sorry about the video quality. I'm so sorry. You're going to be swinging and jostling and jiving. I'm going to be looking down at the notes. It's fucked. It's fucked. Okay. But we're here together on this day of love and joy. So that's worth something. When someone starts to cry, other people oftentimes feel empathy and concern. True, some people feel wildly uncomfortable. This isn't me. I've just seen people don't know. I don't want to like sling shit on people, but like I feel like it's also a very human response to, you know, not really know what to do, you know? I mean, depending upon the relationship you have with this person. If it's someone that you've known for a long time, you love and care about, obviously you're just going to be there for them and be supportive of them. But like sometimes it can, you know, people don't know what to do. And it can be uncomfortable, but that's fine. You know, it's a human thing. Get comfy being uncomfy. We're learning in 2024. I'm learning. Anyway, it's just that's a theme that's coming up quite a lot in things that I'm watching and things that I'm reading is just I was watching something last night, which was Matt Johnson on, I can't remember the name of the podcast, but basically, if it's got Matt Johnson in it, I'm watching it. Nirvana, the band, the show guy, if people don't know, he's also the dude that did Blackberry, bunch of other movies. Anyway, and they were talking about this idea that, but it sounds so fucking like hustle bro culture bullshit that like everything you want is in the cave that you don't want to enter. There was another, I think Matt Johnson was saying the original one is in the filth you will find, something like that. But anyway, I digress. Just a theme that's been coming up a lot lately. When someone starts to cry, other people oftentimes feel empathy and concern. But the biological reasons for shedding tears can extend beyond merely prompting a sense of compassion. The tears themselves appear to take on a role as a chemical peacemaker between men and women, new research has discovered. It just, I don't want to be one of these like man-hating dudes, but like guys being dudes is top 5 one of the worst things ever. women's tears act to reduce aggression in men who are close enough to catch a whiff of the waterworks, according to findings published in PLOS Biology and confirmed through human behavioral studies, brain imaging, and molecular biology. The researchers speculate that tears from people who aren't women likely have a similar effect, but this is yet to be tested. Plus, dudes never really cry. Am I right, guys? It's okay to cry, dude. I've cried. Let's think, actually. I think I've cried it's Friday. I think I've cried 3 times this week. A movie, a TV show, will touch me, someone will say something. A man's dad in a movie or show will say that he's proud of him, and I'm like, ah, Anyway, love is in the air. The new paper suggests that a fundamental reason for why women shed emotional tears is, quote, to convey a chemical signal that lowers aggression, says Shani Agron, co-lead author of the study, which she conducted for her doctoral degree in neurobiology at the Weizmann Institute of Science in Israel. We believe this is a shared mechanism of many mammals. Producing tears has long been considered a uniquely human behaviour, but that's a flawed notion, says co-senior author Noam Sobel, a neurobiologist at the Weizmann Institute of Science, who was Agron's advisor. That's also, I was reading yesterday in Science American that even this sort of like a male dominant hierarchy in animals that we have just assumed is like, yeah, dudes are always like top of the food chain, they're the leaders of the pack or whatever, is not the case in like 46% of, I don't know if it's mammals or animals, it's female-led or power sharing. The dynamic is power sharing, which is just interesting that, we sort of, we have a lot of these assumptions and then they're like, hey, what if we test that? And they go, turns out we were fucking wrong on that one. So just an interesting anecdote as we scooted past that one. Dogs, for example, shed tears when they reunite with their owners after a period of separation. Don't fucking tell me that. Dude. Oh, they're like the ones that'll really get me. Oh, fuck. Is like the parent, sibling, or son or daughter coming home from the army, and then like the family reaction, they haven't seen them in a long time. And also the ones where like their animals are reacting to them coming home for the first time. You want to get teary on a Friday? Check out some of those. Anyway, baby mouse tears contain molecular cues that sway female mice to reject male advances, while pheromones in female mouse tears encourage males to stop fighting each other and mate with the female instead. Mole rat subordinates, moreover, go so far as to cover themselves in their own tears to chemically deflect aggression from dominant members in their group. Taking a little tear bath to get fucking Jake off my back? Jake is a dick this week. I'm going to just have a little tear bath before I go to work today. Get that fucking piece of shit off my case. Humans, like other mammals, communicate information with body odors. Yeah, they do. Go to Supanova. Am I right? So stupid. But seriously, though, what's with that? I don't want to take shots here at the nerd community, all right? Of which I'm part of. I'm there with you, dude, because I'm at the Supanova smelling it. But like, you're not inside. You're not around no one. In fact, you're at a convention hall around a lot of someones. So let's trim and clean those fingernails. Let's pop in the shower. Let's wash the hair. Just this once, because we're going out into the world. And maybe we shouldn't, like, we all know the stereotype, right? Why are we still playing into it? I have a fear of smelling bad. So, keeping it Keeping it right. Keeping it tight. Foul. Sorry, I just have to check to see, am I still recording? We're good. We're a gig in. Who knows how this video comes out? I pray to God it does. So mole rats taking tear baths. Humans, like other mammals, communicate information with body odors. Yeah. But it wasn't obvious that tears would have an olfactory effect on human behavior because people cannot perceive a smell from them. Oh, it's like, it's like smell light. It's, it's a little subtlety in there. Let's start crying into my fucking aftershave. That's, hey, if you're going out, but I mean who knows if the other scents overpower it, or if it's just that there's, this guy smells nice and I can't hate him and I don't want to hit him because something about him, before you head out to the city or the valley on a night out, spritz up some tears. Additionally, while most mammals have a second olfactory organ that is responsible for detecting pheromones, in humans, this organ is thought to be vestigial. Hey Siri, define vestigial.
I found this on the web.
Okay, thank you so much. Hey Siri, define vestigial.
Degenerate, rudimentary, or atrophied, having become functionless in the course of evolution.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Siri. Thank you so much for that. So we thought it didn't fucking work, basically. A series of technical difficulties this week. The first evidence that tears can chemically influence human behavior emerged in 2011 when Sobel and his colleague published a study in Science that showed that women's tears reduced levels of testosterone and self-reported sexual arousal in men. Yeah, that's... Do you ever hear something and you'd go, yeah, I fucking hope so, dude. Jesus. This earlier work raised more questions than it proved answers for. It took years of effort to conduct a more thorough follow-up, in part because of the difficulty of collecting tears from donors. That's a weird ad to run, looking for local women to participate in study, tears required. Again, I feel like pretty easy for me. You get me in there. Just fucking, again, chuck on the army coming home videos. The army coming home dog video, Ah! Tears would be worth nothing at that point. James has single-handedly oversupplied the market. The researchers need at least 1 millimeter of tears to use on each experimental participant, which is a lot of tears, Sobel says. Using an onion or other irritant to force someone's eyes to water is not an option because these are completely different types of tears. Okay. It's got to be, isn't that so bizarre? It's all coming out of the same place, but there's like an essence of something imbued in crying tears as opposed to just eye water. That's so bizarre. To collect the tears used in the new study, the team put a call out for volunteers who cry easily. Only a few men showed up and none were able to produce enough tears to qualify. I mean, could have told you that one. Dude, isn't that such a dude thing? Like, yeah, dude, what? Yeah, bro, I can totally you need how many tears? 1 mil? Fucking give you like 10 mil, dude. Let's do it. Well, no tears today, even though I fully thought I could do it. Guess I'm emotionally dead. Of the 100 or so women who volunteered, only 6 were able to supply sufficient amounts of tears to warrant collection. Participants could use any means they wanted to elicit the tears, from listening to sad music to reading a sad letter, but most turned to the lab's expansive library of sad movies. In addition to tears, the researchers also collected drops of saline solution that they trickled down the women's face for use in control experiments. I mean, it's tough to get in there and get sad and cry. Make sure they're sadness tears, okay? If we come back in and you've got a lot and we smell onions, we know that you didn't do it and those don't count. They have to be imbued with sadness. Oh, you did these? Oh, perfect. Hold on, let me just... These are happy tears. Get this shit out of my face. I can't do anything with this. I told you. They must be imbued with sadness. The researchers next gathered data from 25 male volunteers who played a game in the lab that is often used in studies of aggression. During the competitive super easy. They're like, oh, we got an abundance of data when it came to that. Yeah. We couldn't get any fucking tears out of the dudes, but when it came to getting them all riled up and getting the angry fucking pheromones flowing, too much. We had too much. We broke some of the sensors. During the competitive game, participants were led to believe that their opponent was another person. It was in fact a computer algorithm, however. Just picturing them in there like, fucking piece of shit! Piece of shit! Who is this? Who's doing this to me? It's a computer program, dude. Jesus. Oh my God. Don't tell him that. We need the angry pheromones. Occasionally, the opponent stole money from the participants, who could then either choose to take revenge with no monetary gain for themselves or let their opponent get away with it and continue collecting more money for themselves. I'm going to guess 100% of dudes said, how can I ruin them? Just so you know, this will take you out of the game as well. Then let's do it. Strap me in because I'm taking us both out. The researchers calculated aggressiveness by the number of times a participant chose revenge divided by the number of times they were provoked. The team also represented this experiment in a second group of 26 male volunteers who played the game inside a magnetic resonance imaging scanner, allowing their brain activity data to be collected. All participants played the game twice, and before each session they were asked to inhale from a sniff jar that they were told contained assorted odours, but that in fact held either tears or saline. The researchers found that when the men sniffed the women's tears, they were nearly 44% less aggressive in the game than when they sniffed the saline solution. That's a huge number. Almost half of the time. That's crazy. They were nearly 44% less aggressive. They were almost half as aggressive as they were by not sniffing the tears. That's wild. The behavioral reduction in aggression was also accompanied by neural changes. The researchers observed that the men's brain post-tear sniff exhibited less activity in the prefrontal cortex and left anterior insula, regions that are associated with aggression and decision-making. Connectivity between the anterior insula and the amygdala, a region that is responsible for emotional processing and also part of the olfactory network, increased as well. So they're like building whole neural networks. They're like, I feel empathy developing, starting to care about more than just myself. Oh, it's so weird. Before I sniffed that jar, I wanted to absolutely fucking ruin the life and all the lives connected to the guy that stole money from me in this game. And when I mean ruin him, I mean in real life. I wanted to fucking ruin this guy. But now, I don't really feel that as much. And you know what? I hope he's doing okay. And if he stole it, he probably needed it more than me. Empathy developing. And watching it in real time while they're inside the scanner. Working with colleagues at Duke University, the team used molecular biology methods to test the effects of tears and saline on 62 human olfactory receptors in a lab dish. They identified 4 receptors that responded to tears but not saline. The finding helps to answer a major question about how pheromone-like signals are processed in humans. Agron, Sobel, and their colleagues are now interested in running future experiments to test the effect of women's tears on other women and that of babies' tears on adults. Sobel hypothesizes that baby tears, especially, will likely have an aggressiveness lowering effect on adults. Babies cannot communicate with you in language, but evolution may have provided babies with this tool to lower aggression. The fact that people continue to be able to produce tears throughout adulthood, Agron says, indicates that crying is probably a behavior that serves us throughout life. Send that to every dude you know. Hey, I just want you to, yeah, dude, like send it to the real like hustle culture minded bros, you know, the real like, I'm all about productivity and optimization. Like, dude, actually a key sort of pillar in optimizing your whole life is crying more. Yeah, being more empathetic, feeling stuff and crying, because those olfactory like senses actually it's a behavior that serves you throughout life. So I'm just saying, if you want to get a leg up on the competition, like we'll really sell it to them as being like a benefit. If you really want to get a leg up on the competition, you want to destroy your competition, because that's the language that we can use pre-tier sniffing. Post-tier sniffing, they're probably not really going to identify with that as much, but pre-tier, you know, you want to fucking rip the heads off your competition and shit down their necks. Cry more, dude. That's how you're going to get a leg up. It's a behavior that serves you throughout life. While we're talking about love, we haven't really been talking about that. But what? Hey, it's fucking Valentine's Day, dude. Okay? And even if like you don't get into Valentine's Day, do something nice for, you know, someone in your life and someone that you love. Because I know that a lot of people get sort of bogged down in this whole mindset of like, oh, it's just, you know, consumerist day of like blah, blah, blah. But it's like, it's also nice and fun to do something nice and fun, you know? Everyone loves a treat. Get someone a treat today. A friend? A family member? A loved one? A colleague? Is that weird? I don't know. oneweirdpodcast@gmail.com. Is that weird? I probably wouldn't do that. If I was going to do that, I would do it for like everyone. You know what I mean? I'd be like, Valentine's donuts for the whole office, that kind of thing. You know, then single like one person out. That might be strange, but you get what I'm saying. Do something nice for the people you love, because it's nice to do things nice. And I thought quickly, I just wanted to talk about the number one predictor of failure to attract mates. I don't know if this sort of, it fits the theme of like people and connections and like all of these weird things. So I thought I'd put it in this episode as well. But some folks assume that being single hurts and makes you unhappy. This assumption is not necessarily true, and many singles are in fact happy and satisfied with life. But they tend to be people who have chosen this way of life. In other words, they are voluntary singles. Individuals who prefer to have an intimate partner, e.g. cohabitating, married, but remain alone, are known as involuntary singles. An important question is what predicts whether someone will have trouble finding a suitable mate and consequently remain single involuntarily. Published in the January 2024 issue of Personality and Individual Differences, a recent study by Apostolo and Micheladio explores 17 potential predictors of difficulties in attracting mates. Okay, so we're investigating why some people have trouble finding a romantic partner. The researchers gave a survey consisting of 10 parts to a sample of 1,400 Greek-speaking individuals in the Republic of Cyprus. The sample included 734 women, average age of 35 years old, and 698 men, average age of 39 years old. Approximately 27% of participants were in a relationship, 21% were involuntarily single, 21% were married, 16% were single but between relationships, 9% were voluntary single, and 6% were categorized as other. What's other? The survey examined the association between involuntary singlehood and 17 factors consisting of agreeableness, body mass index, capacity to perceive signals of romantic interest, choosiness, conscientiousness, extroversion, mating effort, neuroticism, openness, self-esteem, self-perceived mate value, sex functioning, shyness, self-perceived attractiveness, sexual orientation, and having children from previous relationships. Okay, so we have a lot of different fucking metrics to cover for a 1,400 person study. The predictors of involuntary singlehood in men and women. The results showed that for women, the factors directly associated with a greater probability of involuntary singlehood were poor flirting capacity, poor sexual functioning, high choosiness, and low agreeableness. Yikes. Because it's just like, does that mean that dudes are looking for someone who is just, hey, just be agreeable, placid, don't really choose stuff, don't really be picky and just go along with what I'm saying? Because that sucks. That fucking sucks. Some factors had an indirect effect through their negative association with flirting ability. These included shyness, low agreeableness, difficulties with perceiving signs of romantic interest, and poor sexual functioning. For men, the factors directly associated with a greater probability of involuntary singlehood were poor flirting capacity, high levels of neuroticism, perceiving oneself as having a low mate value, low self-esteem, and lack of children from previous relationships. A lack of children from previous relationships is better for men? I'm confused. Factors with indirect effects consisted of low conscientiousness, high BMI, poor sexual functioning, and poor self-perceived attractiveness. The authors also found that low self-perceived mate value, mating effort, and flirting capacity correlated with years of being single. For both sexes, one of the strongest predictors of not being in a romantic relationship was poor flirting ability. The effect was fairly large, such that 1 unit increase in flirting capacity was associated with more than a 3 times increase in the probability to be in an intimate relationship than involuntarily single. So, I guess, is the takeaway to flirt more? 1 unit increase in flirting capacity is associated with more than a 3 times increase in probability to be in an intimate relationship than involuntarily single. I guess the takeaway this Valentine's Day is, if you're single, get flirty. Have a little flirty flirt today. Get a little flirty with it, 'Tis the season to be flirty, I guess. If you're single and you're looking to mingle, flirtiness is apparently where it's at, Kick off the shackles of self-doubt and perceiving yourself poorly, and have a little flirt, Don't make it weird. Don't make it weird. Don't make it weird and uncomfortable. But have a little flirt, I think, is the takeaway. And that's science. That's not me saying that. That's science. And now let's round out this season of love with a venture over to our favorite website, Craigslist, into Missed Connections. And I've arbitrarily chosen Seattle, Washington, and Bellingham, Washington, purely because that's where my good friend Colin lives, and it pops off on Missed Connections in those 2 places. So maybe Colin brings a very, a hopeful nature to these cities. Colin, you're doing the Lord's work. I love how, look, a Missed Connections is, for those who don't know, love songs and dedication style. You put a letter in a bottle digitally and cast it out into the sea that is Missed Connections on Craigslist. And you're essentially just hoping that this other person that you maybe exchanged a glance with across the room or had some serendipitous meeting or running into each other, and you hope that they also felt that spark and they will now, love songs and dedication style, go to this website and go, did they post about me? So it can be very funny, but I do sincerely love the hopeful nature of Missed Connections. I love that there are people out there that are, they're having these sort of seemingly meaningless interactions, but maybe there was a spark there, maybe there was a little connection there, or they thought there was, or they felt it, and they're putting it out there and being like, did you feel this too? Hopefully you see this. We could go get a coffee or something. It can just be, a silly yet place filled with hope. And who doesn't want that, you know? So to wind up our love-filled episode, it's not really a love-filled episode, was it? But on this day of love and loving love, let's get hopeful with Missed Connections in Seattle, Washington and Bellingham, Washington. Our first one, intelligent woman at Starbucks. You showed Uber brain, and I found it very attractive. This is a long shot, of course, as brains are rare anywhere, but especially on Craigslist. I hope you'll get in touch. You showed Uber brain. What does that mean? How do you show Uber brain? Does she make some, eloquent remark about something? Oh, the vivacious nature of these beings filled me with a vibrant zest for life. And I love neuroscience or something. Maybe she was reading a book. A book is what I reached for there. I was picturing like a textbook or something to do with like a topic that's really difficult to understand. And also my friend Colin studies engineering, aerospace engineering, and he's always talking about things that I just can't even wrap my head around, but it sounds interesting and it's fascinating. And I love that he loves it, and passion and excitement sort of breeds that in other people, no matter what it is really that they're talking about. When someone really loves something and something is their get down and they're just so excited to share it with you, I'm all in. So maybe it was that, she's reading a book for smarts. She's a real smart, reading a book for smarts. Toby at Woodland Park. I kept your secret, so let's do that morning walk again. From Gary. Damn, Toby. Damn, Gary, actually. A little bit of a dox there. What did you guys get up to in the park? Hey, we buried that body together, and I've kept that secret. Kind of. I've a little bit put the seeds of something out onto the internet that people at Woodland Park should be looking out for. And if anyone knows a Toby that frequents Woodland Park, be on the lookout. Bolo, be on the lookout. Gary's got a secret about Toby. Let's do that walk. It had a threatening nature to it, But Toby, if you're out there, Gary's looking for you. I don't know if that's a good thing. Run, run, Toby, run. Neighbors in Tacoma. You kept looking at me from your window. Tell me what I was doing and what apartment you stay in so I know it's you. You were washing dishes while staring at me. That's a weird one. Especially because dishes is it's like I'm just going through the motions. Maybe I've got headphones in, I'm listening to a podcast, I'm listening to an audiobook, and I'm just sort of like zoned out. When you're staring but not looking? Does that make sense? You're glazed over. You're not even there, really. Your eyes are looking, but you're seeing, but you're not taking anything in, because you're up here, you're in your head. Is that what was happening? And this guy he's sitting in his apartment and he's like glancing over and he's thinking, oh, someone peeping me out here. Siri, stop. The risk of recording on a MacBook. Anytime you say serious, it's like, oh, you talking to me? No, dude, no one's talking to you. Get out of here, Siri. Can't even just say the name anymore. Siri, fucking piece of shit. Piece of shit, Siri. Am I right? But yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe he's interpreted this as like, oh, a little bit of a looky-loo. They're just not even there. I forgive you. This is from Bellingham, Washington. I hope you're okay. I forgive you for trying to stab me, and I'm not mad at you anymore. I hope you read this and contact me. If not, I hope you're safe and good. I love you. Come back home. Putting their personal safety a little bit at risk there. But, love will do that to you sometimes, I guess. I know you tried to stab me, but I forgive you. Maybe don't. Let's not. Actually, let's not. Yeah. Let's actually not forgive the people that tried to stab us. Actually, let's say, you know what? They gave it a shot. They missed. They tried. Fucker, you fucking tried. And you didn't stab me. I win. Now you can get out. Yeah, let's not go back to the people who tried to stab us, actually. And the final one, Cornwall Park Hottie in Bellingham, Washington. I was training the squirrels in Cornwall Park to do tricks a couple of weekends ago when I noticed you were watching me curiously. You were wearing a red shirt and had a lazy eye. Drop dead gorgeous. Let me know if you want to hang out. We can go slacklining or play some guitar and chill. We're going to work our way up from the bottom up on that one. Do you want to go slacklining or play guitar and chill sometime? That is an oddly specific request of someone who it seems as though the only thing you know about them is that while you were training squirrels in the park, they looked at you curiously, which really anyone would, because that is a curious thing to do, you know. But again, just looking at someone, they're looking at you curiously, as is their right to do so because you're training fucking squirrels in the park. Which I'd imagine is only for nefarious purposes. I can't imagine it's for good, you know. I'm training them to rescue cats that get stuck up trees. It's like I'm training them to steal jewelry. The Cornwall Park raccoon bandit. Yeah. You see someone looking at you and you go, you know what they'd love? Slacklining or playing guitar or chilling. Let's find out. Red shirt, lazy eye, drop dead gorgeous. Yep. And training squirrels in the park and you were staring at me curiously. Yeah. Yeah. I just, it sort of, it reads a man up to no good, you know? Although a hell of a story to tell people if you do, you know, forge a connection off the back of that. And how did you two meet? Funny story, actually. I was just going to my favorite bakery, Agnes, getting the pithy delicious, by the way. That's an actual place and an actual thing that Agnes Bakery sell. And it's actually fucking delicious. Check it out if you're in Brisbane. And then anyway, I was heading down to the park and he was training squirrels. Oh, the love of my life. Yes, we met 14 years ago now. Funny to think about it, how much time flies. And he was training squirrels in the park, nefarious reasons, teaching them to steal jewelry and such, which is actually how he got my engagement ring, funnily enough. And he stole it from a couple vacationing. Clearly didn't know what the fuck was going on, but yeah, it's a very nice ring. And, you know, it was love at first, absolute bonkers interaction. And here we are, 14 years later, with my stolen ring and hearts filled with love, you know? And about 2,000 local squirrels that do hang out outside of our house, causing quite a lot of foundational and structural damage to the house that we've bought. But yeah, we were able to get the old tenants to leave because, again, we sent in the army of squirrels. Pros and cons, really. Pros and cons to rearing an army of squirrels. But, you know, love and stolen rings and hearts filled with love. So that's going to do it for this one. I appreciate you coming and hanging out on this day of love. And if you're listening to this not on the day it's released, which I don't know if you noticed, but from what I've been talking about throughout this episode, but this episode did come out on Valentine's Day. If that just sort of wasn't immediately obvious. And I thought, you know, now I'd point it out now, 40 odd minutes deep into the episode. But no, I do appreciate you coming and hanging out, spending your time with me. And if you've got weird but wonderful stories, news articles, snippets, bits, bobs, send them to me, oneweirdpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to keep up to date with me, at my pixel persona on the socials. at One Weird Podcast on Instagram and TikTok for the show. Subscribe to that YouTube channel. Get yourself the Zoom call version of this episode, youtube.com/@weirdbutwonderful. Chuck a rating and review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts. It helps people like you find the show. Social proof, very important. People trust nothing and they want to know, do other people like this? Yes, then it's safe. It's safe for me to also listen. But yeah, thanks so much for coming and hanging out. I hope your Valentine's was filled with, you know what? Let's not expect others to like, I feel like, you know, when setting up like expectations for things, a lot of the time that sort of disappointment can come from us setting expectations and then not meeting those expectations. And it's like, well, you know, this actual thing happened and that was actually good, but you know, I didn't meet the expectation that I had, so now I think it was bad, and we forget the thing that's actually good. So what if we do no expectations for today, but we just do something nice for someone that we love? And even if you're hearing this post Valentine's Day, whenever you're hearing this on this day, get a sweet treat or something that the person that you love or like, or a friend of yours or whatever, just do something nice. Do something nice for someone. That's all we can ask for. But again, thank you so much for coming, watching, listening. I appreciate ya. I'll see you next time.